Welcome back to System Foundations. Today we're installing WordPress. It should be a lot of fun and you'll be able to host your own WordPress site on your own system. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go over and clone our Web 01 system. Now I've got DNS01 running right now, which is a good idea. If you think that your DNS01 or that your Web 01 may not be entirely accurate, go ahead and download DNS01 and Web 01 from the vault and import those machines. Rename the old ones to something like original. Now, I've got details of how to do that. Well, not how to do that, but some naming conventions and things that you might want to do in the description below. So if you go look at the description, you'll be able to get some information in the entire lab, actually, step by step, and every command that I use. So let's get started. It's kind of a long lab because installing WordPress is a little bit involved. So the first thing we're going to do is on Web 01, we're going to clone it. So if you've got lots of space, you can go ahead and do a full clone, but I recommend going through and doing a linked clone and naming it WordPress. So CYB Web 01 underscore WordPress. Now the advantage of doing a linked clone is the linked clone is really fast, so that'll come up in no time at all. And it doesn't use much disk space. Now you see how it says linked base there on our old machine. So if you see that linked base, if you ever want to remove that, just go click on these those little dots and dashes there and click on snapshots, and you just delete that right there. Now don't delete it right now as we're using it as our master. If you don't want to worry about that ever being an issue, then do the full clone and have a full machine and run with that machine. Now that we've got this running, don't power on both Web 01 Original and Web 01 WordPress. We don't want to power both of those on at the same time. They have the same IP address. They're exactly the same machine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this one up here above Web 02 just for aesthetic. So I got DNS01, Web 01, Web 01 WordPress. I'm going to power on WordPress. So I'm going to click on this, go back to details, right click, or come on. Once it acknowledges that we've gone through this process, it should give us a power on button. Okay, there it is. So we have a power on button now, and we can click start, and this machine will start right up. Okay, while Web 01 is starting, let's go ahead and get started with the lab there. That's kind of the prereq for this. If you're performing any administrative tasks, remember sudo-s, become root, because my goodness, you're just doing administrative work, and the not being root is probably just going to cause you problems. Next, if you want to go through and shut down your existing DNS01 and rename that to DNS01 Original and Web 01 Original and download those images from the vault, that's totally fine. You can start with those images from the vault and you still have to do the lab. So the images on the vault are not complete with the WordPress lab. So you're not missing out on the WordPress lab. You'll still have fun with that. Next of all, the DNS01 needs to be, well, configured. So let's go ahead and configure DNS01. Let me start a terminal. In the terminal, let's see if I can get that on the screen. There we go. We're going to SSH root to 192.168.56.11. Now, once we're in this system, we're going to go ahead and VI var named master zone.lab.lan. Inside of the zone, we're going to set up a name for our WordPress. So we're going to press O for open and type WordPress tab A tab, and then we can just pop in the 192.168.56.51. Once that's there, we can close this. We can escape :WQ and press enter. Now up here, if you remember, on a real DNS server, that means if we were hosting DNS in a public arena, then we would need to increment this number so that our slave DNS servers would update. So currently we only have a single DNS server. It's the master. So we don't need to update that number. And that's just a luxury that we have because we only have one DNS server. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and restart the server. So let's go to var named master service restart. Okay, great. Now, just to be sure that we got WordPress up and running, we can go ahead and type a ping-c1 or just ping wordpress.lab.lan, and there you go. We can see that that is pingable and everything does work. Great. We can exit out of DNS01. We won't need it again. So, good news. So now let's move over and we're going to log into Web 01. Now, Web 01 is where the majority of our work is going to take place, and I do have the details in the description below because this is a little bit of a complex process. Now, of course, I'm going through step by step. This is the same fresh Web 01 server that you're using. Nothing special about this. I haven't made any other configuration options. We're walking through this together. So let's go ahead and get started. So over here with the with our terminal, go ahead and SSH to student at 192.168.56.51. All right, once that comes up, we're going to need to install some of the base utilities. Before we do that, though, we need to change the way Web 01 resolves DNS so that we can be sure Apache is going to work with all the vhost files. So this should make it universally compatible with all of our Debian-based systems. And that's kind of a nice thing. So first thing, we're going to sudo-s vi etc network interfaces. Inside of etc network interfaces, we're going to do a DNS-search. Nice. Dash search. And on that search, we're going to do lab.lan. That means any name you enter will automatically have lab.lan appended to the end of it if it's just a single name. Next, DNS name servers. We're going to make this a little more universal. We're going to take out the commas and put spaces. And that way we don't have to worry about versioning problems between different versions of etc network interfaces. Okay, now we've done that. Let's go ahead and save that and reboot. So Web 01's rebooting right now. We're going to pop back into it. Be sure that everything is online. As soon as we're sure everything is online and working, we're going to start installing some utilities. It takes about 20 seconds for it to come back online. So we got about another 10 seconds remaining for this thing to start. Is it up? Okay, we're back up. Fantastic. So we have the IP addresses correct. Let's just make sure we can ping wordpress.lab.lan from Web 01 now. Great. And let's see if our changes with the search domain worked. So let's go ahead and ping CYB Web 01 without anything after it. Excellent. Let's go ahead and ping CYB DNS 01. Too bad. Didn't work out for us. But CYB DNS 01 lab.lan should work for us. Good. Okay, everything's working. And on the first one, we got that CYB 01, so we're all excited about that. Now let's move on and install our utilities. So we're going to do sudo-s. Now once we sudo-s in, we're going to apt-get install a whole lot of stuff. So I'm going to put that in the description, and you can copy this out. So we're going to do an apt-get install --install -recommends, which that may be aliased right now. I'm not exactly sure. -y, which means yes. Apache 2, PHP, lib Apache 2, mod PHP. We've talked about these before with TaskFreak. PHP MySQL, PHP Common, PHP GD, curl, MB string, XML, XML RPC, SOAP, international, and zip. Okay, it's going through and downloading those packages right now. As it gets all that installed, I'm going to go ahead and get MySQL ready to install. Now, we did install MySQL on this server a couple of weeks ago. Or I installed MySQL on the server a couple of weeks ago. So I've already got it installed. So let me see. Well, I might have it installed. Let's see. Yeah, I've already got MySQL installed. So I'm going to try to do a reinstall. Okay. Reinstalled MySQL. Now, on the first time, like we saw in Task Freak, where we walked through that install in Task Freak, MySQL asks several times to enter a password for root. Don't enter the password for root. Keep that password just blank and just carry on. So it's not required. So let's go ahead and move on after you've got that installed, and let's create a database. So as root, we're going to type MySQL. MySQL should come up. As MySQL comes up, we're going to go ahead and type create database. This is going to be kind of weird. Not our normal WordPress. And we're going to put a couple of weird things in there. And that's going to be default character sets in Unicode environments. So default character set UTF-8, collate UTF-8 underscore Unicode underscore CI. Now once we do that, we're going to grant some privileges on here. So we're going to grant all on WordPress star to a user we're going to create, which is SQL underscore user at localhost identified by password. Remember, you can copy these commands straight out of the description. I've already done this once on another machine, so I know those are good commands. So you can go through and copy those out. So go ahead and quit. And notice the semicolon at the end, so be sure you put the semicolons in there. Once you have that done, let's go ahead and get ready to download WordPress. Now, after we download WordPress, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out, and we will start another video. So we will be able to do the configuration for WordPress on the second half. So let's get started with popping over to our CD var www.html. Inside of here, we're going to get rid of everything in that directory, so we have nothing left in that directory. And we're going to download WordPress for its the latest version. So the way you do that is you're going to do a curl-o https ://wordpress.org latest.tar.gz. Now it's been latest.tar.gz for as long as I can remember. So the people at WordPress did a great job with keeping their latest images up to date. So go ahead and press, I'm going to put a time on that, see how long it takes me. And we'll just see how long it takes to actually get that. So it looks like it's going to take about 20 seconds to download, but we'll see. Okay, took 13.3 seconds. So now I've got those files downloaded. Now, once we get that downloaded, we need to unzip it. So in this directory, this latest tar.gz, we're going to do tar xvzf latest tar.gz. Notice there's no dash on the xvzf. Tar is kind of weird that way. So we're going to go ahead and do this and press enter. Okay, everything's done. We now, if we LL again, you'll see that we have a WordPress directory by nobody and no group and latest tar.gz, which is still root. We'll change the permissions in just a second. So one of the things it wants us to do is create a Htaccess file. And this is going to be a blank Htaccess file, which is used to control different directory permissions and user access and things like this. When it's blank, it doesn't do anything. So we'll create it. And this is just going through the WordPress documentation and the DigitalOcean recommendations. Next, we're going to go ahead and create our config file, which is just going to copy it from what's already there to wp-config.php. So now we've copied that file over. We can go ahead and make a directory for upgrade inside of WordPress, which I'm really not sure what that's used for. I remember the upload directory, but I don't remember an upgrade directory. So, well, we'll see. And next, we're going to go through and change the ownership of these files to www-data for everything. Now, if we look at this, we should see that www-data, which is Apache, owns everything in WordPress. So now we've got this far, we're going to go ahead and close this out and come back and finish our WordPress configuration.